typical lunch lady with a hairnet slopping meatloaf on your plastic tray. Or for me, I think of an elementary school on Fridays when we finally got served pizza and we got to eat inside the classroom whenever we were on good behavior. But have you ever thought about where this food is coming from? In this speech, I'll discuss the current problem with the National School Lunch Program, the current regulations that are set, and the American Food for American Schools Act of 2017. According to the American Food for American Schools by Congressman John Garamendi, the National School Lunch Program is one of the most powerful tools we have in the fight against hunger. It's the second largest food assistance program that we have. It helps to ensure that millions of students can go to school without worrying about being hungry. According to this graph, you can see that 20 million students receive free lunches every day. 2 million students receive reduced price lunches, and 8 million students are receiving full price lunches. Because so many children are eating these school lunches, school lunch laws were created to ensure that all school-age students have access to high-quality food. All children deserve healthy, nutritious, and American-grown food, especially at school. This helps ensure high-quality meals for our kids and supports our local agriculture industries. And too often, this does not happen, and this needs to be changed. Dr. Aldia Roth, a professor at Texas A&M University, states that a quarter of the average American's food consumption is imported. She says consumers would be hard-pressed to find processed foods without at least one ingredient from China. United States companies may be able to cut costs by using food ingredients that are imported from markets such as China, but the liability is huge due to hygiene factors, worker safety, environmental practices, quality processes, treatment of animals, and regulations that are considered normal in the United States. Here in the United States, all food production areas are required to go through inspections on a monthly basis, and they have to be inspected and passed by the Food and Drug Administration. And whenever these productions are not passed, they're given a certain amount of time to where they need to fix things in order to meet these regulations, and if they don't, then they can ultimately be shut down. And then industries such as China or other countries that we're importing food from don't have as strict policies on their food, so we don't know what they're doing with their food, how they're processing it, or anything like that. Rich Hudgens, president and CEO of the California Canning Peach Association, said, "When local school districts use taxpayer dollars to purchase and import products that are readily available here in the United States, it's a real slap in the face to American agriculture, who are required to comply with a host of laws and regulations to ensure that they are producing the safest supply of food in the world." He also added, "China is notorious for environmental, human rights, and food safety violations. So why are we using our taxpayer dollars to buy their food and risk our health and safety?" Not only are these products not safe, but American taxpayer dollars should be spent on the American economy. The only act that is currently in place is the Buy American Act, which passed back in 1993. It requires that the United States government should prefer American-made products in its purchases, and it means that they don't have to. One of the biggest misconceptions of this act is people think that it's forcing the American government to buy American goods. But in reality, the Buy American Act states that more than 50% of the cost of all components must be manufactured in the United States. Only 50%. Now, as a student, you might be wondering what you can do about this problem. A bill has been proposed to require School Food Authority to get a waiver to approve and purchase food from foreign countries. The act is known as the American Food for American Schools Act of 2017. A waiver request must be submitted to purchase food from other countries, and it is only accepted if the commodities or products are not produced domestically in sufficient amounts here in the United States. Also, if purchased domestically, would be significantly higher in price than such foreign commodities, if the school agrees. A domestic commodity or product is an agricultural product that is made and processed completely here in the United States. The waiver must also be made publicly to all School Food Authority, and an email must be sent home to all parents and guardians so that they know that the food is being imported from another country. The bill was created after a hepatitis A outbreak in several states, in which frozen strawberries from Egypt sickened 134 people in schools and restaurants. The Egyptian strawberry recall affected 40 schools just in California alone. According to an article by Tim Pearden on Capital Press, districts often purchase canned peaches, canned pears, applesauce, and apple juice from China. And you can see on here on the graph that $300 million are spent on importing apple juice, $84 million on peaches, and $7 million on strawberries. Rich Hudgens, the Canning Group's president, said he's been told by food distributors and processors that districts in 20 states purchase canned peaches from China. Congressman John Garamendi said, "One of the best ways to make sure that our kids have local produce is to enforce the existing Buy American Act provisions by the National School Lunch Act. These provisions are designed to ensure that taxpayer dollars support U.S. jobs and businesses, and they have had the added benefit of increasing the amount of American-grown food that our children enjoy through the school lunch program. We have seen too many instances of school districts, including some in his district, importing foreign food unnecessarily without the proper disclosure. Recently, there have been recalls of imported foods resulting in disease outbreaks when that same produce could have been made here locally right here in California. Subjectable to the cost of using food ingredients from foreign markets such as China, but the liability is huge due to hygiene factors, worker safety, environmental practices, and treatment of animals. That is why legislation has been written. It will also increase the transparency and strengthen enforcement of these important standards. Now, this is not just a problem here in the United States. According to the Western Morning News by Matt Twirley, in the UK, farmers are becoming furious at the fact that just half their school's lunch is homegrown. Food should not be imported into other countries when it is being produced successfully within that country. Now, kindergarten through 12th grade schools are in charge of preparing the next generations for their futures. The food that they're consuming needs to ensure that it's safe, the quality of it, and that it's healthy. I strongly encourage all of you to support this bill as it will decrease sickness in children due to poor quality lunches and continuously support the American economy.